Hello everyone and welcome to today's STPL. Just going to be me today. That's not a problem. We only actually have one series today, so it shouldn't be as insane on my voice, which is always a good thing. As you can see, I've got something a little bit new. I am actually wearing an STPL shirt. I decided to get a couple printed, just what they look like, and I've got a black one and a blue one. But if there's enough interest in getting one, I'll add them to Patreon or something. Got one of my friends who runs a printing business to do it, so I thought it looked cool, and I ordered it a few weeks ago, and it turned up today. So that's something. We have one series coming up today. It should be a relatively good one. I'm not sure of how long the games are going to be, but hopefully it'll be a decent length because, as I said, we only do have one series for today. So Ash vs BWL, unfortunately I don't have the replay, but yeah, a little bit of a mistake on their part. So I will make sure I get those, and we'll add that to the cast on Friday, so it's not like they're going to get missed out, which is the main thing. Now, where can I start today? Monday we came back after a very long break due to personal reasons and whatnot. But we're back again, and it's cool to be here. It's a little bit of a shame Rapid, unfortunately, is a little bit he's busy at the moment, so he's going to take a break for today, which is good. Needs his sleep for a change as well. He's been up about, he did BSL on Saturday, Sunday, then he casted with Monday. But that guy has to sleep at some point, and hopefully it's now. So without further ado, let's actually get started with having a look at what this week's maps are going to be. Yeah, okay, I forgot. I didn't recording the name. So set 1, Early World SE. Set 2, a New Bloody Ridge. Set 3 is going to be Eye of the Storm. Set 4 is going to be Great Barrier Reef. And if we make it to it, the ace match is going to be here on Fortress SE. So as usual, we've got as usual, we've got 3 4-player maps, 1 2-player, and 1 3-player map in the best of 5 format that we've had since the very beginning of the STPL. It's great to finally be back. I'm really happy with the map pool this season. Okay, there may be some I might gain. Bits and pieces sound to cut out, almost cut off. Okay, yeah, I definitely just saw that happening. So let me quickly have a look at that. See if I can see anything. In a second we'll go through all the other bits, but hopefully you guys are all having a great weekend so far. Well, not weekend, week. Man, I am definitely confused. But let's see if I can sort the microphone. Hopefully this fix it, but it's always a little bit of a problem. But yeah, it should be good. So hopefully this is okay. If there is any problems, please do let me know. I'll be keeping an eye on chat the whole way through. Let's actually have a quick look at the player ranking, and then from there we'll introduce our teams. Now the player rankings don't mean too much other than pride. You can see the top 10. We've got Yeti, Kogut, DeWalt, Terra, Scan, Samasi, Dragon, Noob, Ku, and Cryok. So many good players in this top 10, it's unbelievable. We've had some insane games this whole time, and it's been my pleasure to be able to bring all of them to you. Hopefully we're going to have another great round as we go through round 4. We've got a lot of players very close to the top 10 that may be able to make up. Obviously we've got to wait and see how these games go, but there's some other projects in the pipeline as well, which could affect this a little bit later on here, so just always good to be able to show this off. Now, the first team we're going to be seeing today is going to be Clan Revolution. Now, Clan Revolution are going to be going up against someone they've actually lost twice to in the last 10 games. It's going to be SouL Gaming, but ReV are a really good team. They've had not the best luck in terms of pure wins losses, but they've had some incredible series against some really good teams. They've picked up some incredibly good players recently as well. Medinho, for instance, against SouL the last time they played, taking down ASL qualified Bjol, and the camper taking games off of very good players as well. And I'm incredibly looking forward to seeing, well, I'm seriously looking forward to seeing how this series is going to play out. Let's quickly have a look at their team intro. Units from Spire have gone down. Medina with an absolutely dominating performance in Game 1 here against SouL. GG! This cabin is done. Ultra's Carapace is not done yet, but it will be soon. Defilers, lots of hatcheries, and here we go. This is going to be the push of death for Care Bear. GG! Push forward with Siege, with Grace, and Bjol is going to be forced to tap out here. There's absolutely nothing Bjol to do. GG!
The game. Here we go, double Reavers being dropped out, Scarabs on the way, DT in the front lines getting focused down, and all the Zealots blowing up the Scarabs, but the Reavers still have yet to be focused here. Now finally getting picked up, Micro back to back. This is a very well controlled fight. Finally the Side Storms are starting to come through.
Yeah, the Side Storms are coming through, and so are the Zealots. GG! Gonna lose his Spire as well. Ling's trying to come in to defend. Firebat's in defense, so doing so much damage. And it looks like Camper's hit the right timing. He has. GG!
It's showtime.
Okay, so that's going to take us into our second team, SouL Gaming. Now, SouL Gaming are the winners of the STPL Round 3. They got into the playoffs in Round 2, didn't quite make it to the final, but they made it into Round 3, Round 3 playoffs. They beat their rivals White Clan in the semi-finals for the first time, I believe it is. They actually clean swept them 4-0. That was an insane series. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend going and checking out the VODs on the STPL TV YouTube channel. One of the highlight matches was certainly Bjol versus, I believe it was Jeju he played against from White. It was insane TBZ, and I would love to go and sit back and watch that again. I might actually do that at some point, because Bjol gets the most insane hold and somehow wins the game. And then they played against NetWars in the Round 3 finals. NetWars, unfortunately, made it into the finals and lost 4-2 last time as well. But the series they played against SouL was amazing. And now we can see that SouL did beat Clan Revolution once before. We saw before as well they beat them twice. Both times they beat them 3-1. So ReV are going to be looking to try and take a little bit of pride back here and get a victory on the scoreboard in the first week of the STPL Round 4. But obviously there's still a ways to go. So let's introduce our second team.
Earlier, I just wasn't paying attention to that, but the tanks are stasis in the back, and you know, he's killing a few of them, but there's just not enough units here. He's dropping down to 90 supply.
And GG but this is way too many units with just one gateway to hold off. The Templar Archives is finished, but I think it's going to go down before he can build a DT. And I mean, he's going to try and get another Dragoon out. He really should just cancel this, but he can't. GG! Stargate Carrier to deal with this. And this is just the result of this. Look at the train of Goliaths coming forward. There's still like 20 Goliaths in his natural as well. Just absolutely insane. GG! A little bit of a good engagement at the top. Mello jumping on top of the Sunken, so will he be able to take one down? No, he won't. GG! Yeah. A bit of a stalemate. Here we go. The Zealots being sent in first. The Vultures actually out of position. This is going to allow the Zealots to get on top of the tanks. But is this going to be enough Protoss? I don't think it is. But more and more Zealots getting on top of absolutely everything. But there we go. It's too much. GG!
It's showtime.
Okay, so that's going to take us into introduce today's matchup. It's Clan Revolution versus SouL. Overall, SouL Gaming have won 19 of their played sets. Clan Revolution, unfortunately, have only won 5 in round 1, 2, and 3. They've had some very, very tough opponents. And ReV has always stood for family over victory. And they are certainly one to always come out, always give their best effort. Even if they don't lose, they don't feel bad about it or anything. They just get back on that horse and they start playing again immediately. Now head to head, SouL Gaming has beaten ReV 3-0 so far, but there's still time to change that. SouL obviously relying a lot on their Terran and Zerg. Protoss has done incredibly well when you think that their Protoss, until recently, was just Noob. Now, Noob did an incredible job pretty much carrying those Protoss stats for them, and ReV, their Protoss have been doing a really good job as well, and so have their Terran. Hopefully we're going to have a good lineup here today as we have a look at the rosters and what matches we're going to be seeing. Now, there is a very sick matchup coming up. Starting off, we're going to have TVP between the Camper and YSC. That should be cool. Unholy World, we're going to have a TVP between Winnower and Dandy on New Bloody Ridge. Care Bear versus Tai2. This is my highlight match of today. I like to call this the meme match because Avilov, Tai2, very big names in the community, and both of them have a lot to say at the best of times, so seeing them two pitted against each other in a ZVZ on either storm should be great fun. And then we're going to have a ZVP at the end of it all with Incomplete versus Noob. Now, of course, we are going to be heading into our first game to begin with. Let's actually quickly introduce both of our players. The Camper, the first of our players here, one of the newer players for ReV, joined them in the third round. He did an incredibly good job throughout the entire thing, throughout the entire round. I know he is 1 for 3, but the game he won against Kent even was an absolute masterclass of how to play aggressive TVZ. And you can, the players he's lost to are all very good in their own right. Marine, Last Zero, all very good players, very consistent players for their teams as well. And next for SouL, we do have YSC. Now, YSC joined the roster very recently. He was actually the winner of the STPL Christmas Cup Season 1, which was just before Christmas last year, and has only played one game. It was against Koga on Katrina SE. It was an amazing game. If you haven't seen it, I recommend go back to watch it, but YSC has got incredibly good PvT, so the Camper is going to have his work cut out for him here. But if there's one man I believe in for ReV, it's most certainly the Camper as well as Medina. Both of them incredibly good Terran players. Now let's actually introduce our first map. Okay, so that leaves us with the next map, or the first map even. It's going to be Holy World SE. Now, Holy World SE, a very cool 4-player map. Just to actually show you where, obviously you can see the spawns, where I set myself to 1 again. But you've got the 4 spawns, spawners. Now, I do know where both of the players have spawned. They've actually spawned in 2 and 4, so we're going to have a relatively long rush distance through the middle for both players early on. We know that the Camper has had some insane aggressive PvZ, so it could be possible that he's going to go for it here. It's very unlikely that we'll see a cross-scale Overlord. Now, of course, you did see in that map intro there is this neutral command center in the middle. That if we do get to it, we could see some Queens infesting that, going for some infested Terrans, which is pretty insane. It happened very rarely in the pro scene, but the reason why I bought this map back is I want to see it. So whoever the Zergs are, you listen, you build some Queens on this map, and you make sure you do this for me, because I'm waiting for a good Queen play, and today could be the day we get it. Not too sure, but really cool map nonetheless. It has these outsider style third bases, which will mean that we should see Sorry, it's a TVP, isn't it? What am I going on about TVZ for? Either way, it's going to be a long rush distance for the Protoss and the Terran. We have a outside of SouL third base with this gas in the top left, the top right and bottom left. That's going to allow them to get a very easy to secure third base, which will give them access to that gas. And there's also the mineral onlys in the top right and bottom left hand corners if someone does want to expand to them. Now, the one disadvantage, especially for Red, who in this case is going to be our Protoss player, is that these minerals are very, very vulnerable. You can attack them with vultures, you can siege them and take down this nexus, but if he chooses to, he can actually build a nexus up here and just go for the gas if he needs to. And yeah, you caster me, which is that's an interesting thing. I've never seen that before, but this should be a fun game nonetheless. Let's not spend any more time talking about the map. And you know what? I didn't actually show the whiteboard at all today. So I've been drawing on the map for no reason. That's interesting. Let's see if I can fix that. Okay, so there we go. You can see my random doodles. That's basically what we've been going for. But regardless, let's get into game number 1. It's here on Holy World SE. And it's going to be between the Camper and YSC. Okay, so starting us off here in the top right hand position, we do have the Peach Protoss fighting for SouL. It's ex-Samsung Khan, YSC. And his opponent spawning down here in the bottom left, appearing to be from Korea himself as well. It's the Green Terran player fighting for ReV. It's the Camper. And unfortunately I don't know what they're saying. The kits. Nice. Thank you, Camper. I really wonder what they're saying. Hold on. Oh, I can't see the message history. Okay, well that's a shame, but huge thank you, Lucky Noob, as well, for the comment. It really does mean a lot. Thank you for the follow also. I can't see him, Shimmer. Sorry, I just tapped into OBS a little bit too late. Next STPL I'm going to cast in Korean, that's what it'll be. But yeah, you know what? We've got Camper playing relatively standard down here, and we have YSC playing relatively standard in this top right position. Well, I think they're asking each other about their maximum MMRs. Trouble is, I kind of know some of the glyphs or some of the Hangul from Korean, but I don't know all of it. I'm more a Japanese kind of guy. I learned Japanese now for about 8 years, so if they were speaking Japanese, this would be really easy for me. I'd translate everything. But unfortunately, I don't have Rapid here to translate the Korean either, so what we'll have to do is we'll have to sort it out. It's too hard. Okay, well, you know what, we've got the 7X score coming up, and we have YSC going for a scout, Camper going for a scout as well, and nothing really too much to say now. Lucky Noob, just to let you know, I know you said you were kind of impressed with all the assets and everything. Basically, I had a pretty personal loss recently, and I said this the other day, but I spent a lot of my time when I was kind of at home, not really sure what to do with myself, trying to build as much as I could to try and improve the STPL. Now, hopefully, that actually went as planned. I know the people I've shown have said, oh wow, it's really cool. But then, you know what, it's still not good enough. I still want to push it further. I've still got so many ideas that I want to make, so many things I want to do. And STPL Season 2, when that happens, is going to be my major chance to step everything up a little bit more. I'm going to be flat soon. Hopefully, if everything doesn't fall through, so you're not going to see my weird sort of jailhouse door in the background anymore. I should be in a nice modern flat, and I'm not going to show my foot on stream. I mean, I'm not as good as the Footstar Gamer Lava, so I'm not sure people would want to see my size 12 UK feet on stream. I'm gonna save everyone that. Push it further. Okay, that's certainly something I can do. I mean, this game looks like it's relatively standard so far. We've got the camper going for a factory expand. I believe that was actually a gasless expand into a factory, so he is going to be relying on this bunker at the front to keep himself alive. He knows the YSC back at home is not expanding, but I don't believe he actually saw inside the main. No, he didn't scout far enough up, so he doesn't know the DTs are on the way. So this could be a very, very dangerous position for the camper to be in. Now, DTs, very, very strong if unscouted. If you do not have the ability to get scanner energy in time, or you don't get an engineering bay or something, you can be in a lot of trouble. But the SCV actually managing to get past C2. Two Dragoons so far. The probe moving into block. Can he get it? One hit away. Oh, the camper gets blocked from getting down the ramp, but he sees at 4 minutes 42 that there is no nexus, and he's going to be building a starport behind this. Where is the engineering bay? Here it is. The camper's getting ready to defend against CTs, but the Templar Archives is already finished. This could be a very dangerous situation. If this bunker goes down, for sure the camper is going to lose the game, but he still has a shot at this. Now he's actually building a supply depot to try and help defend against any possible ReVs. The starport will be good for a Wraith, but he really does need to make sure that he gets this repairing down. He's getting comsats as well, and YSC is going for a Nexus. Now here is the guy that could ruin Camper's day, but Camper is doing a relatively good job so far. He's keeping his bunker alive. I mean, I know there's a lot of people who probably say, well, this is easy. I mean, pros make it look easy, but when you play Terran, it really is not as simple as it looks. You make one mistake and suddenly you lose the game. That's why Gasless Expand is very difficult for people at lower levels to take off. But here we go. Camper, YSC moving in with the DT. Gonna pull back. Knows that there's a turret coming up. The second DT is on the way. Now, are we going to see a Robo and a shuttle to complement this? We're definitely going to have the Robo. But if he drops these into the main, there's only scan energy here to actually help defend against this. Now, one good thing that the camper's doing is he knows what's going on in YSC's base, so he's not actually bothering to scan the base. Now, he should assume exactly what's going on. Now, Dragoons are actually spreading out as they move back, making sure to check for any possible vultures. And here we go, the Robo is done. A shuttle is on the way, and we can see that this DT is already waiting. He knows exactly where he wants to go. He's going to be heading straight into the main if he can. Now we're going to have a dropship coming out here for Camper. Camper, this is what you mean by this is for kicks. You know I love dropship plays. Now, is YSC going to be prepared for this? One downside. Oh, he actually scans the shuttle. That's such an incredibly good moment. What a perfectly timed scan. He does not see the probe in the top right. But the main story is this dropship. YSC does not have any detection. He's got no way of telling that there is a starport in the base. The only thing he can do is check for how many units there are. Now look at this. A scan going down in the perfect position once again. Just checking what's there. 2 DTs have been lifted up, but you can already see that Camper is ready for this. The dropship is going in. Vultures laying mines at the front and get a lot of probes with this. Can he get a good tank shot? He's aiming for the Dragoons for now. This is a big mine. Not managing to clear everything up. But here we go. The shuttle has gone into the main. The DTs are inside. The shuttle is actually very, very low. Oh, the DT's trying to move in. Not going to be able to find any damage. And the Wraith coming in. This is going to maroon the DTs in the base. The drop has been cleared up over at the back, but these DTs are absolutely forfeit. And this is a big, big loss for YSC. The camper is in an incredible position in this game. He saved his dropship, which is one of the major things. He actually saved the tank as well. Now the first OBS is in the way. The second DT going down without doing a single iota of damage. YSC is not going to be feeling good about this. But he's still in a relatively good position. This mine could cause YSC a lot of pain if things do not go his way. But the observer moving in, scouting that there is in fact going to be 5 factories going up from here. You can see that YSC has been unable to spend his money on a Nexus up in this top right corner yet. He has to spend as much money as he can in getting this Arbiter tag. This is going to be his next big play. 2-base Arbiter. 3-base is not too far away. The actual dropship heading across the middle of the map. This is a little bit risky to do. The Dragoons hot in pursuit. They did see, or at least feel, that that was happening. But we've got Vultures coming around the edge. He still doesn't have speed. That's a big, big problem for him. He's not going to do any major probe damage, but it's actually going to be 6 factories. Now 6 factories is when you start to hit the side of Terran. Now his problem is he's going 6 fact without a science facility, so he's going to have to make sure he builds that pretty quickly. He's actually going double armory behind this, so he's not going completely all in, but the 2 Vultures, speed has finished, going to be running in, trying to get any damage they can do. Doesn't get a single probe though. The YSC making a good move. Oh, the mine does not go off. That one could do no. Great movement by YSC. Gonna stop the mines from doing any damage. Now we can see that middle command center. We're gonna do too much now. This is a neutral disruption web, so that will affect both players. A dropship coming in once again. This time he's going straight for the main. And the problem YSC has is all of his units have actually just left the base. There is a cannon coming up here, but that's not going to help him. The dropship is going to be moving in, going to scout that this third Nexus is not done. Needs to be careful of this cannon though. If he flies over the cannon too long, he could be in a bit of a pickle here, but looks like he is going to drop in the main. The Arbiter has shown itself as well, so we should start to see some recall defense coming up. A scan does go down in the mineral line. Not many probes have been left there, but 3 kills on this tank, 4 kills. One of the Dragoons going down to a mine. This will be cleaned up, so that's a good move by YSC. But you can see that Camper is not done here. He's sending out more Vultures, sending them back now. But this is a lot of lost mining time here for YSC. He did a good job holding on, and now he does have his big power play in play. But the science is done. A little bit late, unfortunately. +2 attack is going to be late to finish. How is his scan energy looking? He has 2 scans at his natural, 3 at his main. He's going to need as many scans as humanly possible as he pushes forward here. Now one of the tanks has actually got a little bit confused. We're checking down here for any possible proxy pylons or anything blocking his third base. But just to answer the question of Waste Me, basically the neutral disruption webs are just there to try and make it harder to move through the middle. Any units under the disruption web are not going to be able to fire, so it makes it harder for Terran to see push because they can't siege any tanks there. Welcome Jenna, welcome to everyone who's come from her stream as well. Cheers for the host, it's a hell of a lot. We're currently watching a TVP here between YSC and the camper. We have the Arbiters done now. Looks like YSC just kind of holding on to see exactly what he's planning to do. He does, I believe, have stasis already. So he's going to be moving forward, trying to do a little bit of damage. A nice mine actually going off on that front Dragoon. And he is going to pull back for now. Now the camper's problem is he doesn't yet have a third base. He's relying a lot on this push. This is a 1-punch push build, 6 fact. The idea behind this build is you hit the Protoss for playing a little bit too greedy. Now the problem the camper might have is YSC hasn't played super greedy this game. He's still only on 3 bases. He's about to take his 4th, but he's got a good number of gateways. He's up at 6, 7, 8, 9 gateways at the moment, and that's going to be a huge benefit for him as this 6-fact push is going to be up against a lot of units. Now, one of the reasons the 6-fact push often works is you basically have a huge tank count, you get a lot of vultures behind it, and just constantly reinforce, so you don't get overrun by the zealot numbers coming out. But of course, you run into the problem of when you're up against 10 gateways, those reinforcing vultures aren't going to reinforce nearly fast enough. Now, do we have an extra... We still don't have an extra command center here, so things are definitely not looking perfect for the camper. He was in a good position. I believe he's trying to wait for 2-1, but that's a little bit far away for the moment. And that's going to be a big problem. Now, of course, the camper wants to try and max out. He wants to get that 2-1 push going. But the longer he gives YSC, this 4th base is going to come into play. The gas is going to start being mined. And the more gas, the more power that YSC gets behind this, the more gateways as well. The harder and harder this push is going to be. So it looks like the camper, waiting for 1-1, is going to start moving his way across the map, but in that time, oh my god, a huge mine goes off on all of the Dragoons. The starport, though, getting taken down immediately. This is a perfect time for the recall, and despite that huge mine, it's not enough to actually defend against this. There's tanks in the main base, but is it enough? It looks like the camper feels he has enough units here. He split his units off. The Zealots and the Dragoons left back in the main should be able to be cleaned up by what's here, but there's going to be 2 sides to every story. Some of the tanks actually getting stuck in the neutral disruption web. Is there enough units here for the camper? This is so much power here from YSC. The disruption web coming into play once again, and the camper without all of his army here is struggling so hard against this overwhelming Protoss force here. He pulls back, that's not going to be enough, and it could end up actually being GG here, as losing this one-punch push is so huge. GG! YSC takes down camper in game number 1. So, okay, I needed to change my transition, but that was an insanely played game there by YSC. Camper had a great idea, but unfortunately, it didn't pay off in the long term. That's certainly one of the problems you can run into when you're going for this kind of style. 6-fact, as I said, is an all-in. You're relying a hell of a lot on your push working, and just to see how pivotal that recall is, I'm actually just going to load up the replay again. This is something that they used to do in old Pro League and whatnot, just to show like the pivotal moment that decided the game. I mean, there was a good number of mines in that base, but unfortunately, it wasn't enough. Now, there isn't any Rapid today, unfortunately. He is, as far as I'm aware, sound asleep, and he deserves it. He does so much for the StarCraft community, both remastered StarCraft 2 as well. Now, we're about to hit the point in the game where this recall comes in, and this is kind of the moment where it changes absolutely everything. Now, you can see here, we're just going to have to find this Arbiter, make sure we don't lose it. It's one of those things where I hate missing things, so just going to go back and see kind of the pivotal moment. Here we go, we can see this Arbiter going to be coming in here. Let's ×4 it so we get it coming into the base, and then we'll slow down. I mean, we can see that the camper is just starting to move out on the middle of the map, and there is the recall. Now, that was a huge mine going off on all of these units, but look at what happens to camper's army. His push is suddenly pulled back. He doesn't know how much he needs to send back to defend this. He sends part of his army back, part of his army forward, and that meant he had not enough power at either position. And because he didn't have the third base to kind of bolster this, and it was going to be very hard to re-expand from here as well, he kind of didn't have a choice. YSC just had his number, and that worked at the end. John Lennon commentating StarCraft. Oh my god, no one's ever said I look like John Lennon yet, but that's someone said I look like the Beatles before. But yeah, that was a great played game by YSC. that's obviously going to take us into game number 2. Usually I would go into a short break to try and load everything up, but since we've got so many wonderful people here, why don't we just quickly load up the next replay. I've also not got to wait for Rapid to jump in either, so I should be able to set this all up pretty quickly. But hopefully you're all having a wonderful week so far. I know there's been a lot of sad news this week, so it's not the best week for a lot of people. Hopefully all those people that I'm talking about will find their feet very soon. They certainly deserve it. They're some of the nicest people in the industry, and none of them really deserve anything that's happening to them right now. But let's load up replay number 2. It's going to be a P, and I'll quickly set up the overlay so we know who's going to be playing, then I can sort of introduce the players as we normally would do. So we're going to be moving on to our second map as well.
Easily amused, huh?
And Jack, thank you, Go Play Tetris, for the sub. Hopefully you've been enjoying the show. I know you follow me on Twitter, means a lot, man, as well. So let's quickly introduce our first couple of players here, and we get started with game number 2. Now, if we move on over here, sorry, I need to make sure what I'm doing is the correct thing. Here we go. Our first player is going to be a debut player here for ReV. It's I hope I say this guy's name right. It's Winnower. Winnower is a Terran player, so this is going to be his debut game. I need to make sure I add the player race to this screen. I thought I already had done, but apparently I haven't done. So that's something that he's going to be up against, the one, the only Peruvian powerhouse for SouL. It's Dandy. Now, Dandy is one of the two, well, no, he was one of the 3 SouL players in the top 10 overall. Unfortunately, he did drop out of that, as he hasn't played as actively for SouL, but he's back again versus Terran. Has actually played against Gecko and Radley and won both of them, so a very good TBT player. He mainly plays PBT. I believe this was played as a TBT, but I'm going to log into the replay and check. But I mean, it's going to be great. If we can see a TBT, I'll be happy. If it's a PBT, I'll be happy as well. I know Dandy usually does race pick, but it looks like for this game he did actually pick Terran. So without further ado, let's introduce our next map and let's get started. Okay guys, so here we are on the map screen. So we're going to be going into New Bloody Ridge. So New Bloody Ridge is a 2-player map. We have 2 spawns, the top right and bottom left hand side. There is a very small choke for the natural, so very easy to defend against early aggression. But you'll notice the namesake of the map, the 2 sets of Bloody Ridges, make pushing very effective early on. 2 base play, very powerful on this map. You can see a very short distance for the bottom left player to attack over these ridges into the natural of his opponent. But of course there are other options. There's a middle path here which units can get through, makes it very powerful for Lings, Zealots and Marines overall. And later on we have the options of 3rd bases here and here. They're both up tiny ramps, so it makes it pretty good early game. Now of course this is going to be a TBT, and on this map TBT can go long. Both players can kind of take a ridge to themselves, and then you kind of see the map split diagonally, and you often see the map mined out. But it's obviously very powerful as well for early aggression, so we could see like maybe a proxy racks in the middle, because it does give you a very short push path either side here to the natural. So without further ado, let's get in to game number 2 of this series. It is Dandy versus Winnower on New Bloody Ridge. Okay, so starting us off here in the bottom left position, we do have the Brown Terran fighting for... fighting for SouL. Is Dandy. And his opponent spawning here in the top right-hand position, we do have for ReV. It's one of their new players. It is Winnower. And I really hope I'm saying his name correctly, because I actually have no idea how his name's said, so this is kind of a new experience to me. But Winnower looks like he's being a little bit cheeky. He's actually going for a proxy Rax in his opponent's main. Now, is Dandy gonna play greedy here? If he goes for an 11 Rax, he can maybe hold this off, but this is a 6 Rax from Winnower. He only has, well, it was a 5, yeah, it was a 5 Rax actually, no 6. He's only actually got 6 SCVs overall. The 7th is on the way, and if this goes unscouted, this could be deadly. But the problem is, SCVs have 60 health. Marines have 40 health, I think. SCVs can hold off against this. Now Dandy, oh my god, Dandy is actually going to scout the proxy Rax by building his own. What an unfortunate positioning error by Winnower. Dandy immediately pulls his SCVs. He's going to go after this barracks. He knows all he has to do to win this game now is stop this rush. Now the first Marine is going to come out, but that could be completely contained here. You can see Dandy actually moving in immediately with his SCVs going in for the kill. Now the second Marine is on the way. He's going to try and use his first Marine to delay the barracks as long as humanly possible. Now his Winnower's SCV has gone down, so that's one thing neutered from this push. You can see Winnower is doing a really good job moving his SCVs around, but unfortunately he's unable to find any damage. And the 4 SCV micro here by Dandy is impeccable. The barracks finishes. And what is the follow-up here for Winnower? He's going to be up against a refinery. And a refinery means factory. A factory means vulture. Now he's trying to build a barracks, a bunker even, outside of the natural of Dandy. Now if he can get his Marine in there, maybe he can make something happen. But look at Dandy's control. This is insane. Now the bunker needs to go up. Looks like he's going to try and hold off the Marine. Doesn't quite manage it. The bunker doesn't finish. And unfortunately, this could be one of the quickest games we've ever seen in STPL history. The bunker is not going to finish. The third Marine is going to go down, and GG! Dandy, in a bit of luck, actually, holds off Winnower's all in and wins game number 2. Now, it's not often I can say that we get games like that, and you know what? I guess it makes sense. It's not the most common style. It's a TBT. You expect TBT to go on a lot longer. But you know what? Dandy wasn't having any of it. He's going to take SouL up to a quick 2-0 lead here. And we're going to go into game number 3, which is going to be what I classed as the key match. It's 2 of the top players in the foreign Brood War scene at the moment. It's Tai2 versus Avilov. It's going to be a ZBZ on Eye of the Storm when I get back after this short 1-minute break. See you guys very soon. Okay guys, welcome back to the STPL. My name is Kix, and today we are watching Clan Revolution versus SouL Gaming. We've had some crazy games so far. I mean, this is probably, that last game was probably one of the quickest TBTs I've ever seen. I mean, I admire what Winnower tried to do. Unfortunately, he couldn't get one over on Dandy. And in the end, it just ended with his defeat, unfortunately. But that's going to take us in to game number 3, which is going to be Avilov versus Tai2. Going to be absolutely insane here, a ZVZ between these two players. Now, Avilov used to TVZ, but here he is playing ZVZ for the first time in the STPL. Now, Care Bear is his other AKA, that's what he goes by in the database as well. Versus Zerg, he did lose to Hinamu, he beat Hinamu even, that was the TVZ, and he actually beat Whistler, he lost to Whistler, that was the TVZ in round 1. I mean, if we were to look at when these guys actually played, Avilov last played in round 1. Now, round 1 of the STPL, in case you didn't know, is actually from... we started the STPL, me and Rapid, back in March last year, so it's a long tournament. These teams have put in a lot of effort to get how far as we have done. And I mean, Avilov did a great job back then, went 6 for 2 overall, 75% win rate. He's 1 for 1 against Zerg at the moment, and he's going to be making, he's going to try and make it look 2 to 1. Here as he faces off against SouL's Tai2. Now Tai2 is an absolute beast. He's won the 3 ZVZs he's played. He's got an 85% win rate overall. And Tai2 is one of the most creative players in the foreign scene. There was a guy called Michael who was known as the Cheese King. Tai2 was known and is known as the Cheese Prince. He can play standard these days. He does an absolute job in every tournament he plays in, and it's always a delight to see both of these two play, and I cannot wait to see them both play off against each other in our third map of this evening. Okay, so we're back once again. Here we are, we're going to be looking at the map. Because it's a ZVZ, I'm not going to go into it too much. Obviously, ZVZ map features don't come into it much. We do have a small entrance to both naturals. There is lots of room in the middle to run around. I mean, overanalyzing this map for a ZVZ would not be worth it, I don't think. It's likely we won't get past 2 bases if we even get that far. It's a ZVZ. There's not much else to say. Let's get into the game and start with Avilov versus Tai2. Now spawning here in the top left-hand position is going to be our Red Zerg fighting for SouL. It's Tai2. And his opponent spawning down here in the bottom right-hand position is going to be the Blue Zerg fighting for ReV. It's Avilov. Now, this is going to be an interesting game. This is kind of an important moment. We're going to see Tai2 going up to 9 drones before he does anything. No Overlord started yet for either player. Looks like Tai2 has just spent some money, and it is going to be on an Overlord, and Avilov as well, doing exactly the same build, mirror builds at the moment. Now, this could be a very interesting game. ZVZ is a very fast but very mechanical matchup. Everything counts. Every single drone, every single mineral, every single gas that's mined in the early game is of so much importance. Now it looks like Tai2 is going into 2 drones. Looks like Abby is going into 3 drones as well. So both of these players could be going for a 12 hatch. Now, Tai2 has definitely done a 12 hatch in space before. He could be going for a 12 pool, but both of them have saved up for a hatchery. You can see both of them going for it at the same time. Now, let's see when their pool times diverge. Are we going to see gas first from either player, or is it just going to be a straight spawn pool? Obviously, with mirror builds, looks like Tai2 is going to be going for spawning pool, and we're going to see the same for Avi. So both of them definitely going for absolute mirror builds. A mirrored mirror is what I like to see, especially in TVC, because it means every little bit of time they spend all comes down to moments. Depending on how efficient people are at spending their minerals, that's one thing that Tai2 says he is very, very proud of. You can see that he's actually gathering a few additional minerals to Avi despite having the same number of drones at the same time. This is possibly due to the fact he could be mineral boosting. Now, mineral boosting is a little bit of an advanced technique that not many people do, but it requires taking a drone, right-clicking it on the back mineral field, and then quickly right-clicking it onto one of these. Now, what that achieves is basically you'll see that when a worker decides to stop to mine, it actually accelerates a little bit. If you do that, it removes the deceleration period. I don't know if I'm saying the right word, but it's all good. We do have 6 lings coming in here for Avi, 6 lings coming in here for Tai2 as well. Lair on the way for Tai2, Lair on the way for Avalov as well. It looks like Avalov's, this is the first divergence. We've actually got a few additional lings coming in for Tai2, and Abby has gone for the quicker lair. Now we do have speed coming in a little bit later than Tai2, so Tai2 did go for speed first over lair, whereas Abby went for lair first. So basically this is going to come down to sort of the next couple of minutes in this game. Obviously it's going to come down a lot to control. Are either of our players going to choose to be aggressive here? Both of them just kind of sitting back, waiting to see exactly what's happening. Lots of lings being produced by Tai2, no additional drones. And now, of course, he can see everything that's going on in his opponent's base. Unlike Abby, Abby has not got an overlord there, so this is a little bit of a reaction play by Tai2, who saw a couple of extra drones being added on. Now the Spire is coming here in the background. Let's look at the Ling micro. How good is it going to be? A nice concave here for Tai2, but Avi needs to defend. He needs to hold on against this Ling onslaught. Some Lings coming in for him. Avi with a great concave against the convex of Tai2, taking down a good number of these Zerglings, but more Lings are on the way. The Spire not yet started here for Tai2. He's down on drones. It looks like he's trying to go all in with Lings here, trying to catch Avi off guard, but Avi with great control is going to take control of his high ground here. And Overlord going to see the additional Lings are coming out as well. This should force a few extra Lings, possibly even a Sunken back at home, but he knows as soon as the Spire comes out, he is going to be in a great position. Now Tai2 unfortunately did not get the best of that engagement. His Spire is incredibly delayed. This is one of those moments in TVZ where things can get a little bit awkward. We're going to see Tai2 try to jostle for position on this ramp. He is going to get a good engagement there on a couple of those Lings there from Avi. Avi pulling extremely far back, trying to get that big concave going again. But could this be too many Lings from Tai2? He's going to try and split some off to go into the main. No, he's not. But a great engagement from the Lings of Tai2. Going to take down all of the Lings of Avi. Now, Mures have popped, but Mures do take a long time to kill these Lings. There's actually Lings in the main mineral line now. Abby forced to pull all his drones away, and he's pulling them out of the fire into the flames. As 2 drones have gone down at the natural, it looks like Abby gonna move forward with some Scourge counter against any possible Mulus that may be hatching for Abby. Now there's still 2 drones in the main. 1 kill on both of those lings, hero lings there. And it looks like we've got some more lings coming in for a counterattack. The drones have been left here undefended. There's only 2 lings back at home. They're not going to be enough to defend against the 4 lings. But Abby is going to try and go for this attack. Now the Scourge actually getting a hit on one of the Mutas that are popping out. The other 2 Scourge do manage to connect as well. The Mutas of Taito incredibly damaged. 3 Mutas immediately down for Abby. Another couple of Scourge coming in from Taito. That's going to make it 2 versus 1. But Abby is going to have free reign over the mineral line. Looks like the lings in the main mineral line of Abby have done a little bit of damage, but will be taken down. These Mutas are the real story, though. It's going to be 3 versus 1. A good Muta split here by Abby as well, making it a little bit harder for Taito to do any additional damage. The glaives not bouncing nearly as far. And Abby is in such a good position, but it's 2v2 now. Scourge are popping out in defense as well, and Abby is forced to pull back. Now let's check the drone count. While things are a little bit easier, we actually have 7 drones in the natural, 3 in gas, and Taito only actually has 5 drones on minerals, 3 in gas. So it looks like he's actually got double amounts of gas. Wow, he actually managed to fit in another set of drones. That's kind of insane. But more Scourge coming in, 2 lings actually coming in, trying to do a little bit of damage, forcing away the gas drones from the natural. That's going to be less gas for Taito. That's going to be less Scourge. Another couple of Scourge connecting. Great engagement here for Avilov. Abby doing a great job here against one of the best North American Zerg players in this ZVZ. Now it's going to be Scourge versus Scourge in the vanilla map, 6 versus 5. And 6 versus 4 even, I can't count. But looks like Taito once again counter damage of his own on the Mutas of Abby. Abby doesn't actually have that many Mutas right now. Both players really crippled. But Taito is managing to sneak out drones. Here we go. The Scourge are going into the main. Gonna try and camp any of those. Looks like it's oh, this is so close. Abby just missing out on that Abby just missing out on that Scourge. Taito just missing out on that damage. But Taito is actually in a pretty good position now. He's chased the Mutas away from Abby. Abby unable to do any additional damage for now. And Taito back at home is actually managing to sort of stabilize. I mean, he's adding to his drone count, adding to his Mutas count, and there's still a Scourge here in the main. When is the Scourge gonna die? It's gonna be Scourge on Scourge action. As he follows it, finally it does go down. That's a perfectly even trade. Abby is with a supply lead now. He's actually got a decent number of drones himself. Has managed to take down a good number of air units here from Taito, but Taito's still not finished. He still wants to try and get this damage done. Does Abby realize? Yes, he does. Gonna be able to micro down these Scourge. That's 2 connections there. Wow, I think he did. A little bit unfortunate there by Abby. But looks like Taito with another Scourge here. Gonna try and camp this egg, see if it can get any damage done. I mean, it looks like it is gonna go down. That's a little bit of a benefit here for Abby, but Taito and Abby, I mean, Taito, whenever I see his ZVZs, they're absolutely insane, and this one is no different. So both players kind of just trying to build up. I mean, it is possible that we could see a Hive eventually. Ensnare is absolutely incredibly good against Muteless if you can get that far, but I mean, you don't even need a Hive for that, you just Queen's Nest. But the trouble is, it's very, very difficult to get that far. Now, are there any upgrades for these Muteless? No upgrades for Avilov. We have no upgrades currently for Taito, and no upgrades researching. Both of them been very, very low on health. Welcome, Zero. If anyone who doesn't know who Zero is, he is Mr. Bombastic himself, runner and proprietor of the Bombastic Star League, the biggest individual, I need to say individual team league, individual solo league in StarCraft Remastered outside of Korea. Huge thanks to him and everything he does to the scene as well. Obviously, I run a team league, so it's slightly different. So we've not got a conflict of interest even. But this is going to be a big engagement when this comes in. A lot of Scourge from both sides. Abby with a better engagement with the Mewers to start with. But look at the damage. Tai2 is able to put down the Scourge. All taken down from Abby. And Tai2 is actually getting incredible engagement here against all odds. It looks like Tai2 may actually be able to win this game off the back of this. The Mutant Micro has been absolutely insane on Tai2's part. But both players actually on par once again, an even trade for both sides. Tai2 with the 3 supply lead. That's from these extra Scourge that are kind of sitting around the Lings in the main and the Scourge in the main as well. But looks like Avalov isn't finished. He wants to push forward. This is a lot of damage to be taking. More and more Scourge hitting Avalov's Mewers, but the same can be said to Tai2. But here we go. It's going to be 7 versus 3. This is going to be engagement that Avi cannot win. He is going to have to pull away, loses all of his Mutalisks, and suddenly things are looking dire for Avalov. Tai2 up 11 supply. There's a lot of Scourge on the way for Avi, but unfortunately for him, Scourge only getting at him so far. You can have perfect Mutalisk micro against this Scourge, and all of a sudden things get a lot hairier. But here we go. Looks like the Scourge splitting up, trying to dodge as much of this splash damage as possible, but this could be the last hurrah here for Abby. Look at the micro by Tai2 on display. Once again, Abby actually with a lot of money. GG. Well played. And Tai2 takes down Avalov. Okay, so that was an insane game. Looks like I forgot to change my transition again. That's something I need to make sure I change. That's something I need to work on. But basically, what an incredible third game. That, of course, does give SouL the 3-0 victory, but the series is not over yet. We will have our final game. It's going to be between Incomplete and Noob, but when I've loaded up the replay and I'm back just after this, it'll be a super quick break, guys. Don't go anywhere. Okay guys, welcome back to the STPL. You're watching Season 1, Round 4 now. We've made it all the way here to the group stage, starting off last year in March. We've made it here now, and we've had some incredible games throughout the STPL, and Round 4 should not be any different. We're going into game number 4 between ReV and SouL. Now, SouL have taken the 3-0 victory, but the last 3 times these teams have met, has been 3-1. So can ReV get that win again? Can they continue their streak of going 3-1 against SouL? We're gonna have to find out as we introduce our couple of players here. Now the matchup, I'm gonna have to say, could be a little bit imbalanced in one person's favor, but here we have on the first position screen we do have ReV's Incomplete. Now Incomplete is a very, very cool guy. One of the nicest people I've ever had the pleasure of meeting in the StarCraft community. He does a great job leading his team. He is, of course, the captain of ReV. He's done interviews with some of the players and people in the scene as well. He recently did an interview with me, which I think should be posted soon, hopefully. Hopefully you get to learn a little bit more about me from that as well. Now, Incomplete started off his STPL journey as a Protoss player, became a Zerg, became a Terran player main race, and now he's playing Zerg against his opponent. Now, I noticed it said versus tie 2, which means on the overlay, we need to just make sure that we've actually swapped that, because it's going to be a ZVP. So, Incomplete is going to be playing against Protoss here. He has lost against Noob before. He lost to Kingdom as well, so not the strongest of players for ReV, but it's all good. Let's have a look at his opponent. It's going to be Noob. He's in the top 10 players of the STPL with an 87% win rate. Absolutely insane from him. He's played against some incredible Terran players and beat them. This is going to be a PvZ, so not worry about the versus Terran stats in this case. I thought I changed Incomplete's race, but I'm gonna change it again. We're gonna, there we go. So if we go back here, this should actually, well, you know what, it doesn't fix it. It's all good. It doesn't matter too much, but basically Noob is just a very strong player. He's won a lot of games, and overall he's just pretty much a boss. Let's introduce our final map of today. It's going to be Great Barrier Reef. Okay, so here we are watching, we're looking at Great Barrier Reef. This is a really cool map. I'm going to go into this a little bit as it is going to be a ZVP. One of the major features you can see is it is a 3-player map, and we're going to have one player in the top, we're going to have one player in the top middle, and have our second player down here. Now there are 3 spawns, there's 12, 8, and 4. This means this all-important third main is going to be an incredibly important place on this map if we do go long, because we will need, both players in fact will be relatively gas-starved in the late game. Now we do have a natural expansion for both players down a small ramp. It is very easy to wall this, so Protoss aren't going to have too many problems with that wall. Now, one thing to note is you can see here, you can just about make it out on the map, but basically there are mineral patches with only 100 minerals on, and this gives you access to the backyard, to the natural, which gives you a very easy to take and very easy to defend third base. And one thing you may notice is it's much like Outsider, behind minerals, see this gas. This is going to be a big thing to go for. Now, there are multiple ways you can go for this. You can a pylon with a probe to push a probe through and take this base as your third instead of the mirror only. You can use drops as well, and basically Zerg can push through units as well to get through there. As EVP does go later game on this map, we saw a very quick PvZ on here the other day where basically Cadenti took down her opponent with an incredibly strong Hydra Rush, but you'll notice that there's actually a lot of airspace around the main. That gives you the option of going for muteless play as our Zerg player here. Now, as I said, I'm not entirely sure what kind of experience Incomplete has with ZVP, but it should be great to get into the game and find this out. Let's head into game number 4. It's Incomplete versus Noob. Now starting us off here in the 12 o'clock position, we have our purple Zerg player fighting for ReV. It's incomplete. And his opponent spawning down here in the bottom left position, we do have the teal Zerg, the teal Protoss fighting for SouL. Noob. Now, I'm going to be very interested to see if either of our players cheese each other here. Now, Noob does know that Incomplete's main race is Protoss and Terran, and Incomplete did in fact sub for one of his Zerg teammates, which is why he's playing Zerg here. Now, it looks like Incomplete's going to go for the gas track, so he isn't entirely unsure what to do with Zerg. He's got a little bit of an idea here, which is always good to see. And Noob is going for an in-base pylon. So we're going to see a one-base plate. These ReV guys, man, they are all nice. Every single member of ReV, I love you so much. You're all great people. You know what? Everyone in my tournament, I love every single one of you. Even if you've done things before where you've like not submitted plays and things. I love you guys. All of you guys have made this tournament possible. And I love being able to bring this stuff to you guys watching as well. Thank you to everybody who's tuned in. Hopefully you're enjoying this show. I did quite a bit this round to try and push up production the best I possibly could on my own. And I'm quite happy with how it turned up. But obviously, it's up to you guys to decide whether you like it. If you have any comments, please do hit me up on Discord. Maybe mention them in the chat as well. And if you've got any ideas for improvement as well, I'm very, very happy to hear them. A great place to message me is on Twitter as well, because if you sign up to Twitter and follow STPL TV as well, not only can you give your feedback directly to me, and also see all the latest STPL announcements, things like that. So it's always worth doing it. Now, Incomplete is going to scout that it's going to be 2-gate here coming in from Noob. Now, Incomplete did go for pull into gas into hatchery, so he's not gone for 12 hatch or anything. If he did, I would definitely put a big red X over Incomplete's base and over his face as well, because that would be a skull and crossbones kind of moment if you go 2-gate against the 12 hatch. But looks like Incomplete is going to be able to get some defenses up in time. He's going to be relying a little bit on Zerglings early on. He's pulled off of gas, so it's likely that he's going to be going into a couple of Sunkens as well. But this is a moment of kind of calm before the storm here for Incomplete. This is where he has to kind of gather his thoughts. It's where he kind of has to figure out how exactly he plans to do this. Now, Noob is actually going to be sending his Zealots back. I think he's a little bit worried about the sheer number of Lings that Incomplete has. Maybe he thinks because he's pulled off of gas, he's actually going for a Ling all-in. Now, that is something that's possible here, and due to the fact there's been no additional drones been added on, it is still very likely, but adding this creep colony makes me think this is kind of an overreaction to defend. But here we go, looks like we are going to have Incomplete pushing forward. Now, there's no full wall here yet. There is a little bit of a wall, but these Lings, as soon as speed kicks in, are going to be able to get past this. There's no cannons. But look at the positioning from Noob, getting his Zealots, creating that wall, making it very, very inefficient for Incomplete to try and get through. Now he is going to try and take down this forge, but Noob just has to hold his ground. He's going to stand here with a lot of Zealots, try and build a couple of cannons. Now Incomplete's going to try and push his way through. Is this going to work? Doesn't look like it is. That's a lot of damage being done to these Zerglings. And unfortunately, oh wow, the Lings actually get by. Can they get into the main? There's no cannon in the main. This is a huge deal. Oh my god, if the Lings can get the pylon, this could be a lot of damage going down. There'll be no additional units coming out. The man, Incomplete has taken down the SouL pylon powering these two gateways. The Artosis pylon in the early game. It's not often you see that in Brood War because of how long it takes Zergling, or how long it takes anything to kill pylons. But there's more Lings on the way. We're going to have Noob entirely relying on cannons at the moment. A great move by Incomplete to get into that main. But let's just point out there's actually a Zealot in the natural with 6 kills. There's no drones left. This is all or nothing for Incomplete. And it looks like SouL may have done this. Now, one thing I'm going to do, because I am apparently blind and I can't see teal, I'm going to go back a little bit. Okay, so looks like this is when the Zealot got in. So this is the moment that decided the game. Obviously Incomplete got in, stopped any additional units coming in. But you can see that this really did mess me up. This teal on purple, really hard to see, at least in on my screen anyway. But there we go, the Zealot gets into the main. This is when Incomplete is doing his best to try and break through this wall. All of his attention is down here in the bottom left. You can see he didn't build a creep colony either. He had the money to build a sunken even. And this Zealot getting a lot of damage done. This is the true moment that ended this game, unfortunately. After losing all of his drones, there was nothing Incomplete could do. He had no money, and despite having links in the base, that was the end of that chapter. So a little bit unfortunate by our clan leader for ReV there, Incomplete. He did go against one of the strongest players in the STPL, and Noobs, he is nothing to shake a stick at as well. It's certainly something that we've seen before, and it's certainly something we're bound to see again. Noob absolutely with the perfect defense. Looked a little bit shaky there, but just that decision to send a single Zealot over to the enemy base on the adversity of losing everything in his main, won him the game there. Great moves by Noob, and that of course does give SouL the clean sweep here against our wonderful team ReV. Let's actually just quickly have a look at the final results. There is only going to be one series today, unfortunately. I couldn't get the replays in time for the second one. But if we actually have a look at the results here, apparently I need to change the time on that appearing, but you can see that YSC took down the camper, Dandy took down Winnower. That would, you know what, that was one of the funniest games I have ever seen. Winnower with a 6 racks in TVT in his opponent's main. Dandy goes to put his barracks in a little bit of a hidden position and finds the proxy. I can't believe that game actually happened. Tai2 taking down Avilov on Eye of the Storm, and Noob taking down Incomplete. SouL Gaming went undefeated last round when they won the round overall in the playoffs against NetWars. Can they go undefeated again? This is the start to their journey. It's 1-0 in Group A, Group B even, for SouL Gaming. And it's going to be a good tournament for them, I can see. So let's just quickly throw it back to me a second. Just want to say once again a huge thank you to everybody who tuned in. Huge thank you to Jenna for the host. Huge thank you to Tetris for the sub as well. And if you guys want to support the STPL, I know it's been pasted a couple of times, you can either donate to myself using the links below, you can sub on Patreon and get access to all of the replays from the STPL so far, including the ones from week 1 when I post them at the end of the week. And you can also just follow, and more importantly, you don't have to support monetarily, you can tune in to watch, support players as well, follow them on Twitter if they've got a Twitter account, and just show them your love as well for all the great games they put out for you guys to watch. Thank you once again, have a very good evening, good morning, and good afternoon wherever you are, and I will see you guys on Friday, same time, same place, for some more STPL action. Have a good evening.